First time online dating. It's been 7 days. Here's how it went. So my sisters recommended I do online dating. They were like, give it a shot, but beware, online dating is rough out here. And I'm a natural lover. I think they know that. So they was just giving me a warning. So I upload 6 selfies and I immediately start swiping. Low expectations, but keeping an open mind. I matched with someone that lives in my area. So I'm like, cool. I say, hey, let's check out this place that they just opened. And she was just like, actually, let's go see the game tonight. And I was like, oh, tonight. Now I'm a little nervous. I haven't been on a date in like 5 months, and I was dating someone that I was very close to. So this is just new. It was new. I'm very new to online dating and somewhat new to dating overall, right? So here I am. I pick her up from her house.
Right.
We go to a little bar pub thing, and we watch the game. We get along. She's an NBA fan. She was talking her shit. Conversation was there. We were like this. So we got along. She's like, I had fun. I want to do it again. I like you. Whoa, cool. So she's like, essentially, she was like, compared to all the other people that are on the app, most other people, she's like, essentially, I'm a breath of fresh air. I'm like, oh shit, that's great. You know, that's great news. Anyways, I drop her back off to her place, walk her out to her door, good night kiss, all that. And then the next day, I'm like, okay, that went so well. After work, let's watch the game again. So we go out again the next day. So that's 2 dates in 2 days. Even better vibes. We get along even better than the first day. Conversation is there. She's like, I really like you, Leon. I really like you, you know? And I'm like, I really like you too. So we get along. I drop her back off at her house. Good night kiss. Everything's great. She said I have
The lover boy. The lover boy. How's this going to play out?
fun. Let's do it again. So 2 days later, I say, let's watch the Sinners movie. And this will be her first time watching it. She said she wanted to watch it. And this will be my second time watching it. And I always wanted to rewatch it anyway. So she's some sort of like a history conspiracy person. So she noticed all the little things. She was very excited. Thought the movie was really good. Had a lot to say about it. So, you know, that goes well. And I drop her back off at home. She's like, again, I had a good time. So the next day, I sent her like a little meme because, again, she was excited about the movie. I sent her like a little cornbread meme. That's a character in the movie Sinners. And no response. Okay. But she works.
Welcome to online dating. Let's go.
During the day. I work during the day. So I'm like, I don't really care if someone doesn't text me during the day. It's just one day, right? But then I text her again that night and I say some funny stuff about what I was doing at the time. So I went to like a little symphony thing and I was just like, hey, I'm doing some shit, right? You know, some nerd shit. It was a Naruto symphony thing. And again, no response. And then the next day I sent her something about the Clippers because, again, she's an NBA fan. And I told her I was rooting for the Clippers. And, you know, I said some like funny shit because they had lost. And again, no response. So now this
Triple texting.
is 3 unanswered text messages. And I'm like, oh, I get it now. So I wait another day, and I'm pretty much like ready to just wrap this thing up. Like, I assume like it's over. So I sent one last text and said, hey, I had fun. Whenever you're free, you can hit me up, whatever. But I'm not really expecting her to hit me back. So it's been about 4 days now. This is on day like 5 or something without a response. And I ain't gonna lie, man. You know, I know it's, you know, that's just the way it is. But as a natural lover, man, I'm like, woof. You know, I started to get my hopes up for a second. It's a little disappointing, guys. It's a little disappointing. But one thing I learned is that you cannot bring your hopes up.
Right.
Like, we had 3 dates in just 4 days. You know, even though that's 3 dates, in my opinion, but it's just 4 days. Like, you can't expect a lot. And after the 3rd date, you know, I was just like, man, screw all these other matches, nigga. I had like 12 matches. But I was like, I put a pause on my profile. I'm like, I'm good. I'm about to uninstall this shit. Like, I found someone that I can get along with. But again, you're dealing with people here, guys. When you're new to online dating, you're new to dating, especially in 2025, guys, you're dealing with people. People switch up, like, they just switch up, right? They can be feeling you 4 days in a row, and then immediately, for whatever reason, no explanation, they will ghost you, bro. They will ghost you. And it's gonna be very disappointing, but that is just part of the dating process. Now, me, I'm not gonna stop being a lover. Now, I will adjust my expectations. But yeah, man, that's week 1. I'm back on there. I'm not as much, honestly. I'm not back on there as much on the app, but you know, we're gonna see where it goes, man. Week 2 on the way.
All right. Listen, it's really interesting hearing somebody who's never done the online dating thing experience it for the first time. That's really interesting, especially somebody like him who's probably going in wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and you know, you're expecting that you're going to find the love of your life the first time. That's not how it typically goes. I hear him. He says he's a natural lover. Yeah. I don't think that situations should change who you are at your core, but I do think that situations definitely do change how you approach certain things, especially relationships. So what do I mean by that? I think a lot of people hear this story and go, oh, I hope he never changes. I'm like, I kind of hope he does, because if he doesn't change his approach and how quickly he falls, and he says he's going to do that, then this will be a repetitive cycle. People don't like to think this, right? If a man gives off, and they don't like this at all, if he gives off typically the type of person who's really eager or is heads over heels too early on or comes across like a nice guy. Doesn't mean you have to be mean. But if you give off the energy that you don't have options or like this is your first time around, many of these women, even the ones that may look at it like I'm healed and healthy, they just don't respond favorably to that. I didn't make a dating game. That's not something that men like to become. And what do I mean by that? They don't like to become somebody who's reserved, who's, especially men who are looking for something serious, which I get the idea that this guy's looking for a more serious long term relationship, right? He wants it to be serious, straight to the point. Men get really frustrated. But you have to be cautious, especially online, especially with the double, triple, quadruple texting. If she ignores you the first time, then back off. This is not me saying, "Oh, you're wrong and you should know better." No, this is me giving some sound advice from a very caring place. I also hear him say his three sisters got him on the online dating tip. I hope he's has some like men to give him guidance in that area. And then you have men who just like they know all this stuff, like probably maybe even has heard of the coffee, but they're just like, no, I'm going to be a lover boy to the very end. I'm never going to let anything change me. I'm going to show up with flowers. Okay, then enjoy. Enjoy. Let's read a few of these comments. What do you guys think? Top comment, he says, final thoughts. That's him. Somebody else who says, only do one date a week and don't get too attached because it's rough. Oh, shit. You've got the chicks here giving him that type of advice. Somebody else says, brother, as another natural lover, those places are not for us. Interesting. Yeah. Online dating. Online dating is brutal. Online dating is brutal. Part of what makes online dating brutal is I don't think people realize the amount of people who are on there who are in relationships. And I'm talking about women included, right? Married. You have no idea. Maybe that was her. She just needed a timeout with a new, fresh guy. It's crazy. Somebody else who says, notice how he didn't start complaining about how women are this or that just because he didn't get what he wanted. See how he's not demonizing and belittling just because things didn't go his way. Not hard. Goes on to say he responded, one thing I'll never do is project hate on nobody, especially on the internet. Let's see somebody else who says she'll randomly be back. And that is true. Here's somebody else who says, welcome to the trenches. Right. That's like an initiation. And this is anybody, right? Nobody is beyond getting left on red. Nobody's beyond being ghosted on. That's just the nature of the online dating streets. You know, I used to have like a guide how to win with online dating. If you guys remember in the beginning when I first started creating content, I actually documented that whole process. If any of you guys are interested in that, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram. Email me at support@shishisaid.com. Somebody else who says, don't do that again. Take it slow. Don't see a person more than once or twice a week that soon. You don't want to build false intimacy. Let it marinate. Wow, they're giving great advice here. Somebody else who says, that's unfortunate. I'm a natural lover girl and I take disappointment too hard, so I refuse to try a dating app because I already know this will be the outcome. Let's see if you posted any other updates. No, that was like from a day ago. Let's see.
I think a lot of people making their relationships is not prioritizing themselves. I'm not saying to be selfish, but you got to be a little bit selfish.
There we
So
go.
last year I was in like a little situation, right? And for context, it was a situation that turned casual. That was supposed to be casual, but as we spent more time together, it got serious because we realized we were like this. Me and her were a perfect match in terms of personality and everything.
Right.
But our circumstances didn't allow us to be together. We were just in two different phases in life, so it ended. But I remember when it ended, I was reflecting on it, and I realized that at the beginning of the relationship, I had put a pause on everything that I wanted to do, all the things that I was passionate about. So, you know, we were going traveling, we were eating out together, we were going into DC like every other weekend. I was spending the weekend, every weekend there, from like Friday night to Sunday morning, just spending the night. We did everything together, and we were in love. It is what it is. But I fell off my diet, my exercise, I fell off my content, I fell off any business stuff I was trying to do, hobbies, and it all became about her. And that's cool. But I remember it was like once it ended, I remember it felt like I was resuming from where I left off before. And I was like, wow, I was even spending a lot less time with my family, which is like family. My family is so close. We're
Mm-hmm.
everything. And I was like, I gave up so much of that time to spend with her. And I don't regret it because I loved her, right? I was going to spend the rest of my life. But in my next relationship, instead of trying to fit my life around the relationship, I'll try to fit the relationship around my life. And if it does not fit, of course I'm going to make sacrifices. But if it does not fit, then I'm not ready for that relationship.
Yeah, that's a good realization. Sounds like he recently started dating is what it sounds like. One thing that men have to realize about women is there's a sort of tug and war, and it's natural, and it's not going to go away, and you're going to experience this from probably the first time a woman meets you to the end. Is you can't forget why that woman found you attractive, and women in many cases they try to pull you away from those things. When she saw you and first met you, you were focused on your purpose, you were going to the gym, you were taking care of yourself. Those are the reasons she found you attractive. Many men forget, they forget that. And women don't help either, and they don't do this consciously, but they'll complain about things like we need to spend as much time as we possibly can, right? Date nights as much as possible, and they will pull you. If you can't say no and you don't realize it, hey, the more I invest into this woman, the more I become less of the person who she found attractive. If I lose myself in her and I agree to every hangout, every event, everything, and sacrifice eating healthy, maintaining my body, my physique, so on and so forth, the thing that gives me my edge, you start wondering, hey, what happened to this guy who you used to be? And it's sort of a self-sabotaging of the relationship in many ways. Guys, of course, I'm curious to know, what do you think? Leave your comments down below. To my men who are currently engaged or plan to be married, if you need a prenup but don't know where to start, head over to fathershaverights.com. This guide helps you get ready before you hire your lawyer, before you hire a lawyer, right? Step-by-step walkthrough by expert attorneys. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.